Right, in today's video, we're going to talk about just a quick overview of the Brady Mobile Tag Assistant app. It's an Android app, and in this case, it's running on a Zebra handheld reader. It looks something like this. RFID reader is up here. It runs Android 8, I believe, and here is the charging dock. The charging dock also has a USB, micro USB connector on the back, so you can cable connect it to a PC for uploading and downloading information. But we also generally supply these with an Ethernet adapter, so you can run it off of a LAN connection, or it has Wi-Fi, has Bluetooth as well, and you can communicate that way. But you don't really need to have a connection to use this program. When ID Integration sells these, we deliver them to customers already pre-configured with the Brady application, which is this. You also have access to the normal settings button for the reader itself, where you can connect to Wi-Fi if you wish. There is 3 buttons down here: back, home, and this lists all the current active applications. You can just clear them all that way. This is a Zebra generic app for just reading RFID tags. We're only going to concern ourselves with ATA tags. Those are ones that start with 3B. That is a filter code that identifies it as commercial aerospace. Okay, so here I'll kill this one as well. And we'll come back to the Brady application. This again is for the mobile reader. There is a desktop version of this, but it's used for a very different process. The mobile reader is used to read tags when you're away from a computer. You have to be in a mobile requirement. And you can also modify tags, so you can update them, you can edit them. And that's something you can't do with a desktop reader that Brady also sells. When you open it up, you'll have this kind of an environment. Several buttons that you can control which functions you want to present by default to the end user. Typically, read is what most people want to do. And from that, you can actually edit some things. But I've added some additional buttons here to show that you can actually create a tag from scratch. You can't print, of course, but you can actually encode with this. So if you were doing tags with hard ceramic tags, or even if you're planning on using these soft tags that Brady has, but you don't plan to print on top of them, you can use this, you can use this handheld reader and software to create one from scratch. If you want to change things, you can click on the little setup cog, and your password is 123. Hit submit. And things that you can change quickly are things like the scanner power. So if you don't want to read as many tags, you'll reduce the power so its read range is less. We'll go into some of these other settings in other videos, but by and large, the number of buttons that you show on the front screen is going to be whether or not you are toggling these to the left or right. So let's see if I can add one more. Commission, single record, I'm going to take that off. And now if you remember, yeah, it reduces the number of buttons. So this is how you control the home page. And let's just get down into it. When we hit read and we pull the trigger of the reader, we'll see the number of tags that are in our vicinity that conform to the ATA spec. And what we're seeing here is what's called the EPC bank. We're not seeing all the detail of the part. We're just seeing this string of information that is represented here with a reference to the ATA spec, which is ADI VAR, then a filter code which identifies the product type, if it's a seat belt, emergency equipment, a life vest, avionics, that kind of thing. Then the cage code, an optional part number, and serial number. And whether you have the part number in this case or you do not in this case is dependent upon whether or not you serialize uniquely within your cage code or within the part number. That defines whether or not you have a part number or you don't within this EPC message. So let's go ahead and we'll just, I'll take this one. I think that might be a valid tag. So we'll hit next. And now it's going to go ahead and dig deeper on that tag and read the user bank, the place where we keep most of the history of this part that we're tagging. And in this particular tag, there's two memory spaces within the user bank. The first one is the birth record, and that's what we know when we create the tag. Its part number, its description, construct type, data manufacturer, that kind of thing. If there's any hazardous materials that this thing contains, what its weight might be, things like that. Is it ESD sensitive? That stuff gets programmed onto the tag and then locked. You cannot change it, right? The next section is called the lifecycle record, and this is never locked. Each time you want to modify, let's say the thing comes back for repair, you might want to update its expiration date, you might want to update its revision code, and you can do so with this handheld reader by simply saying edit. And now I'm going to go in here and I can manually put in, I'll type the letter A, or I can change the expiration date here. I'll put this in, but I'll change the date. I'm sorry. I'll change the year code to, I think I can do it up here, yeah, to 2025. Okay? And I believe it's asking me for a hazmat code. These options can also be changed without coding, so I will show you how to do that in another video as well. You can define the service category code. Is it serviceable? Is it to be scrapped? Is it unknown? Is it unserviceable? When you're finally done putting in all the things that are required, you can just hit next, and it'll go out and write those changes to the tag, indicate success, and then read them back to you. So now you can go back into the lifecycle record and you can see those changes there. And this is effectively how this reader works. You can use it to just validate that you can read a tag, or you can dig deeper and you can actually modify results. Now in the next videos, we're going to show how we can interact with these data forms in a way that does not require you to push the little tiny buttons that are on these handheld readers. We have a way of automating that process.